Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be friends only means no sex. Anytime a woman starts bringing up the friends word or throwing that word around, it means no sex. It means she's strictly thinking in terms of hanging out with you in a platonic sense. And the worst mistake a lot of guys make when they hear that is they think, oh, I'll be different, or I'll just continue hanging out with her and I'll get her to change her mind. When a woman says, I want to only be friends now, in other words, she wants to unilaterally change the terms of your relationship to a friendship, to a platonic one, and you agree to just hang out or spend time with her without saying, hey, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in you in just a platonic sense. That doesn't work for me. If you don't do that and then you start hanging out with her, you're basically communicating, hey, it's okay, I'm happy to be in the friend zone. And most guys go along with that because they're afraid, well, if I stand up for myself, she won't call me anymore. I might lose her from my life. And, well, at least having her in my life as a friend is better than nothing at all, because maybe I could change her mind a little later on down the road. The point is, you got to stand up for yourself and what you want. The worst thing you could do is say, sure, yeah, let's hang out. That sounds great, yeah. Case of blue balls, you know, I'll have a second. I'll have an extra. Supersize me with a helping of blue balls, please. Don't do it. Well, I got a quote that I'm going to share with you, and I've got 4 emails to go through with you today with guys that are in these kinds of similar situations. And the quote says, people who have a tendency to go along with things that are against their wishes are people who are too afraid to stand out from the crowd and stand up for themselves. They place a higher value on seeking the approval of others than making sure their own needs are met. They therefore are always trying to be all things to all people in order to gain the acceptance of others, which tends to be fleeting, fickle, and inconsistent anyway. When you stand up for yourself, there is a very real risk and likelihood that some people will not like you or want you. But if you never stand up for yourself, you will never have anyone respect you enough to love you, value you, and appreciate you for who you really are. It's much better to have a few good friends and lovers than lots of phony friends who don't really care about you and no lovers at all. Part of standing up for yourself creates a sexual polarity. And somebody, man or woman, who's not willing to stand up for themselves is in essence asking other people to walk all over them. And people will allow people like that to hang out with them because they never say no to them. And they make them feel, it's like part of their entourage, if you will. Have you ever seen some of these celebrities that have people around them, they're always, yes, kissing their ass, going along with everything that they say, just to be around. They're not real friends. There's a quote that Oprah said. She says, everyone wants to ride in your limo, but a true friend will take the bus with you when your limo is in the shop. And it's so true. Common sense, but most people don't think about that. They think, oh, I'll get them to just change. If I just go along with everything, I'll get them to change their mind later about me. So let's jump right into the first guy's email. It says, hey, Coach, I bought your book about a month ago, and I must say it's helped me increase my dating ring. Even though I consistently read and watch your videos, I have come across a sticky situation that I thought I should message you directly. About 4 months back, a coworker of mine asked how old I was and wanted to see if we could hang out. I gladly said, of course, to which me and her became fuck buddies. Friends with benefits, nice. At the time, however, I was going through a lot of family issues, including my own mother dying, and she was months away to graduating from college. I even told her that I was dating other women and wasn't looking for anything serious. It's amazing how powerful that statement is. Fast forward to my mother's death, which caused me to be angry with my family and want to give up on many things. But around this time, when I would get off work, she would always ask me to come over and spend the night, which became routine every time I finished work and led to an emotional connection. However, one night, she became jealous and upset that I was dating another coworker and thought that I had more feelings for the coworker instead of her. This upset me because she's also cried while confronting me about this, and that's when I noticed she started becoming attached to me. Well, you shouldn't get upset or angry or pissed off. You really should take it as a compliment. that she valued you enough to see you in that light. But the key is, this is part of where it comes to standing up for yourself. Hey, I really love hanging out with you, but I'm just not in a place where I want to be exclusive or be in a relationship. You got to be honest. It's the worst. A lot of guys blow a bunch of sunshine up a girl's ass because they're afraid, oh, if I'm honest with her, I may lose her. Well, it's true, you may lose her, but at the end of the day, you're not going to be happy if you told her a lie that, oh yeah, I'm exclusive with you, while you still go and hang out with the other girl. Because then it blows up in your face, she finds out, and that's an even worse situation. Honesty is always the best policy. He says, over time, I took her out on dates to go eat, see a movie, or just have a relaxing day at her place or mine, which ironically, after doing all these things, we acted like a couple. As the last months went by, and I was still struggling with my mother's death, she finally graduates and starts packing to move back home, which is 2 hours away. I was upset and discouraged because I began getting attached to her the same way she had done before with me. Uh-oh. Danger, Will Robinson. Now this is where the power starts to flip. You went from being this indifferent, charming James Bond kind of guy to now you become attached and start acting like an emotionally irrational woman. He says, I told her how special she was to me and that she became my getaway from everything that had happened in my life. That's definitely not something that's going to create attraction when you say something like that. He says, but sadly, she told me since we are in opposite places in life because I was still in college and she was getting her career started, that I have a bright future ahead of me and that we should just be friends. Oh, that's just dandy. Oh, that sounds like a great idea, honey. I like that. Yeah, let's just be friends and stop the sex. What happened was you got friend zoned because you started acting like a woman and you got attached. Remember, this is a girl who was upset that you were still dating other women. Your behavior completely changed. She said that she will stay in touch with me, and if I ever come down to her city to hit her up to hang out. Well, what she stated to you is, I only want to be friends and I'm moving away. In that moment, that's where you say, you know what, I think it's great that you're graduating and that you're moving away and everything, but you know what, I'm not interested in just being friends with you. If I'm ever in your city, I'd be happy to give you a call, but it's not just to hang out as buddies. Maybe friends with benefits, which is all we've kind of been, and I really like that, and I want to keep that, but if you're telling me if I come to town and we hang out, it's just as buddies and friends in a platonic sense, then I'm sorry, but I'm not going to call you if I happen to be in your town, because that doesn't work for me. You have to stand up for yourself. He says, fast forward to the present, I took a road trip with a buddy down to her city, and all three of us hung out for a little over 3 hours. See, you didn't stand up for yourself, and she's throwing around the friends thing, and you're probably in the back of your mind thinking, oh, well, I'll still be able to hook up with her. But your actions, or I should say your lack of standing up for yourself and saying, this friends thing doesn't work for me, that communicated your acquiescence to it. That communicated that you're okay with just being friends. He says, in those 3 hours, I noticed that she dolled herself up and looked amazing. Probably had a date with some other dude after you. But I also noticed that she didn't want to be touched and would talk about other guys or even talk about screwing them and seemed very disinterested in any of my advances. Pretty obvious. You communicated to her that you were cool with just being a platonic thing. So you go down there and you're hanging out. It's like, what do you expect? And in her mind, she's thinking, hey, I just said friends only. Hey, but if you're in my neck of the woods, let's hang out. And plus, you bring a buddy of yours. What else is she going to think? He says, when it was time for us to leave, I tried to kiss her, but she was reluctant. And this caused me to wonder, what am I doing wrong with her? Well, the whole point being was that months prior to that, you didn't stand up for yourself. And from her perspective, you communicated you're okay with just being buddies and friends. She told me to message her when I got home safely, and I know she definitely cares for me, but I want something more meaningful. Is it because she moved back home and is 2 hours away, or was I acting weak and didn't notice? The real problem was that she threw the friends word at you, and you didn't do anything. What you should have communicated to her is, hey, I'm going to be in town, and I'd love to see you, but I'm not interested in just being friends. So if you're telling me we hang out, then it's just strictly going to be a platonic sense. then I'm going to have to pass on hanging out. But if you're telling me that you're definitely down for hooking up and spending time, and it doesn't mean we're in a relationship or anything, but God, I'd love to see you because we had such a great connection before. And then ask her, and she'll say, well, I'm kind of seeing somebody else, so it'll be kind of inappropriate. Like, okay, well, give me a call if you change your mind. You got to be willing to walk away. Just doing that, saying that in that same way lets her know that you're not interested in anything platonic. You're only interested in something romantic. And so the way to handle this forward is I wouldn't call her, and if you hear from her again, say, you know what, it was nice seeing you, but this being friends only, it doesn't work for me. I'm just not interested in that. So, I'd love to hang out again, but it's got to be in a romantic sense the way things were in the past when we used to live in the same town together. And she says, well, I'm really only interested in just being friends. And you're going to say, well, that doesn't work for me, but give me a call if you change your mind. And what you should do, if she ever reaches out to you after that, have her come see you. Say, hey, why don't you get away for the week and come hang out? And invite her to come hang out at your place. Hang out and have fun and hook up like I talk about in my book. But your problem is that she friend-zoned you, and you didn't stand up for yourself. You just basically, all of your actions and your words communicated that you were okay with it. So what could you possibly expect to be any different when you show up expecting that things are going to be like always? So let's get into the second guy's email. He says, hey Corey, I'm doing great, but I need your advice for a particular situation. I decided to go solo and head into the city and let my night take its course. I popped into my favorite bar of mine, and a buddy of mine was there with his girlfriend, so I joined them for a drink. We were laughing and joking, having a good time, and I turned around to check the clock and caught a stunning 10 out of 10 blonde checking out my ass. Well, all right. She stared straight into my eyes, and I stared back. She gave a big smile, and I walked over and sat next to her. Nice job. I like the confidence, dude. But at the end of the day, she's eye-fucking you. So it's like, hello. Remember, attraction's not a choice. You walked in, and just the way you carried yourself, she noticed you. And then you walk right over with confidence. I started off with a statement to engage her in conversation, and it went smoothly. The guy turned up from the bathroom and sat on the opposite side of her, and luckily for me, he introduced himself as her brother. Nice. They were on vacation together from Norway. I kept the conversation light and funny, and she was getting closer and closer to me. And her brother went to the bar to get drinks, and I seized the moment, and I used my favorite Corey Wayne line, and I said, get those sexy lips over here right now and kiss me. And it was beautiful. It's amazing how well that works. Half an hour passed, like a minute, and she was fixated by me. We held hands a lot, and I kept eye contact, and I threw a few James Bond smirks in for good measure. Haha. Things were going very well, and I stood up and asked her with a shitty grin to follow me, and she did. I led her by the hand upstairs to where there's a few bookshelves in a corner with a big comfy chair. I made a big move on her, and she submitted fully to me. We could not keep our hands off each other, and it got pretty wild. After our little adventure, we headed back down to her brother. She wrote down her full name for me and told me to hook up with her on Facebook, and that she wants to move to my country and work here. Haha. Well, what I would have done is you should have kept that going. You should have isolated her from her boyfriend. You should have said, hey, why don't we get out of here and go someplace where we can be alone together. It's that simple. And then her brother will be like, hey, yeah, sure. You should have made some plans to continue that instead of just letting her get away. Because remember, she's on vacation, and obviously she's down to hook up and wants to get laid. She then proceeded to leave with her brother and get on with the rest of their vacation. And by the way, Corey, you're spot on when you said age doesn't matter to a woman. I'm 12 years older than this girl. And every girlfriend I've had in the last 4 years was younger than me. I'm 33 now, and things have never been better. Well, the connection I had with this girl was amazing, and I'd love to see her again. Well, it definitely sounds like you had a missed opportunity there. And even if maybe she had somewhere to go and she was leaving with her brother, you should have said, hey, well, I definitely would like to see you again. When are you free to get together in the next few days? But if she's obviously leaving your city or whatever, and you're physically not going to be in the same city, then that's another issue. She's unbelievably good looking, and I never had to deal with a girl that lived in a different country, and I don't want to fuck up. How do I go about spending good quality time with her? She's full of energy and adventure, and I really don't want to end up some gay friend, Facebook friend with this girl. Thanks for all your great work, Corey, and I really need your advice in this. Well, like I said, it sounds like everything started off great. The only problem was that you didn't. It sounds like you could have, unless you fucked her upstairs. Maybe you left that out, or maybe you were fooling around with her. But you definitely, the way things were going, could have isolated her from her brother, and ended up back at your hotel or something, or maybe you lived there. You just said you were. It sounded like you were visiting that particular city. But like I said, it sounds like a missed opportunity that you didn't take advantage while she was actually in your country there, hang out, have fun, and hook up. And so the only thing you can really do at this point is send her a friend request on Facebook and say, hey, I had a really great time, what little time we got to spend together. Hit me up. Let's chat on video Skype sometime. Let me know when you're free. Send me your Skype name, and we'll hook up. And then connect, talk on Skype for however long it happens to be. And because obviously you're physically in different countries at this point. I don't know how, maybe you're in Europe and you're only an hour or two ride away, but bottom line is you got to plan on getting together with just you and her. And so at some point at the end of that video Skype session, you're going to want to say to her, hey, I'd love to get together and see you sometime. When are you free to get together? And then make plans. Maybe you can jet over there for a weekend or something like that, stay at a hotel near where she lives, and then you could spend just the two of you hanging out, having fun and hooking up, just like I talk about in the book. But from that point forward, that first conversation, the end of it should be you making plans for either her coming to visit you or you going to visit her, or maybe the two of you meeting in the middle somewhere, because you didn't mention where in the world that you are. I think you said she's from Sweden or whatever. But bottom line is you got to arrange getting together, and if she's unsure, she doesn't know, I got to check my schedule, that kind of thing, then what you say is, well, when you figure it out, get in touch with me and we can plan something in. And then you don't do anything after that. You wait to hear from her again because she's on Facebook. If she reaches out on Facebook, say, hey, let's catch up on video Skype. Because obviously you're not physically in the same town, so the best thing that you can do is chat on video Skype where you can see each other, you can see your body language, your physiology, and all those things. But the point being is that somebody's got to, either you fly to see her or she flies to see you, or maybe it's a train ride away. Like I said, I don't know how close you guys are to each other. But that needs to happen. Because if she's not going to come see you and you're not going to go see her, it's really kind of a moot point. But from you make plans, then obviously get together. And there's really no reason for you to be reaching out to her if you got plans set. And that's the best way to handle it from that point forward. And then say you go and you get together, you hang out, you have a great time. Maybe she moves to where you're living at some point in time. But I wouldn't reach out to her. I wouldn't contact her. I would let her reach out to you after you've gone and visited her and then chit-chat. But again, the whole point of talking is to arrange a date to get together physically in person. That's how you're going to avoid becoming her virtual pen pal, if you will, over the internet or through Skype. So let's move on to the third guy's email. He says, hey, Coach, I've written you a few times and I've read your book numerous times, but I'm faced with a unique situation. Long story short, a few months ago I told my ex we shouldn't contact each other if she only wants to be friends. I've done all the right things by going out on the weekends, meeting new people, and looking forward, although it's difficult emotionally at times. Given that we live in different cities, I explained that I don't want to be her long-distance male girlfriend. I offered multiple times to move to her hometown, but she has resisted me. Why do you want to move to her town? This is pleasing behavior. The only reason you should move there is that you actually want to live in that city, not because you're chasing after her and hoping that you can bend yourself into a pretzel and become the guy that you think she wants. This is indicative of how you're showing up in this particular relationship. It's a bad way to go. It's a bad frame of mind. Remember, it's a feminine quality to be submissive. He says, 2 weeks ago, my ex contacted me and she had sent me a text message and asked if I could help her with something for work, given that we're both attorneys. I don't know if her text message was genuine, but I'm inclined to think that she thought of an excuse to contact me to see what I was currently doing. It's possible she may have needed help with work, but she could have asked a million other people to help instead of me. I chose to ignore the text and I didn't respond. Well, I wouldn't have ignored her. I don't teach that. I know there's other guys on the internet that teach us just keep ignoring, and hopefully she'll ask you out. But in this particular case, you said, hey, I'm not interested in just being friends only. Give me a call if you change your mind. So if she reaches out, you got to assume that the reason she's reaching out is because she wants to see you. And in that particular context, I would have said, hey, it's great to hear from you. I'd love to see you, but as I stated to you last time, I'm not interested in just being platonic friends. That doesn't work for me. So if your reason you got in touch was because you wanted to see me, let's talk about getting together. Otherwise, I'm sure there's plenty of people that you can get in touch with to help you with whatever the heck it was that she wanted help with. That would have been the proper response to that, not just ignoring her. He says, the following week, my mom was in a bad car accident and she's been hospitalized since the accident. My ex heard through mutual friends that my mom was in an accident and left me a voicemail last night. Her voicemail said she hoped my mom was doing okay and that she doesn't expect me to call back since I hate her. She knows I don't hate her, and when I explained to her that I was walking away and not looking back months ago, I told her that I loved her and I couldn't be her friend because I can't be friends with somebody who I want romantically. However, and what you got to remember is when a woman reaches out, she's going to try to keep you in that friend zone, and that's why it's important to stand up for yourself and be consistent, be congruent with that statement. And like I said, how I would have handled, a minute or two ago in the video, when I mentioned, that is the proper response, the proper mindset to be in. He says, however, I don't honestly believe that she takes me 100% seriously when I said that I'm walking away and not looking back. More than likely, you can, especially if you're telling her, hey, I'll move, I'll change my job, I'll move to your city, and she's like, no, I don't want that. More than likely, she's definitely going to test you to see if you really mean that, if you're really congruent with those words. And she'll come at you from 100 different angles. That's why you got to be on your game. And you got to stand up for yourself consistently with what it is that you want. He says, however, I honestly don't believe that she takes me 100% seriously when I'm walking away and not looking back. And I'm inclined to think this way because she asked me to help her with work recently, and then I've always been the one to compromise in the past. So you have a pattern, you have a history of being submissive and going back on your word. He says, given that I moved across the country once for her. So my question, should I continue to ignore my ex given that she inquired about my mom's health condition? He says, FYI, my mom will be okay in 6 months, but she's had multiple surgeries and she won't be walking again for about 3 months. This is not life-threatening. My gut tells me to ignore, to continue ignoring her. It was like, what do you hope to accomplish? You got to communicate. It's rude just to ignore somebody. But what you got to say is, hey, I appreciate, I would call her back, say, hey, if you get her voicemail, I say, hey, I got your message, and I appreciate the fact that you called and you're giving me sympathies about the fact that my mother was sick and is in the hospital. But it's nice to hear from you, and I would really love to see you. But again, like I said the last time we talked, I'm only interested in seeing you if it's in a romantic sense. So if you're interested in getting together in a romantic sense, maybe coming to visit me, that would be wonderful. If not, hey, it was great hearing from you. Give me a call if you'd love to see me in a romantic sense. And then you leave it at that. And then say she calls you back or she texts you back. Have her come visit you, because you're the one that's obviously, sounds like you jumped through your butt numerous times chasing after her, moving to her city. But make her come to see you. Make her come and spend the weekend with you. In other words, I'm not saying make her come see you, but if she wants to see you, she has to come to your city. But you got to be absolutely crystal clear that you're only interested in doing it in a romantic sense. He says, I keep mutual friends apprised of my mom's situation. She can always contact a mutual friend if she wants to know anything. I'm afraid that my mom's condition is a slippery slope where my ex will contact me every day to ask about my mom, thereby going back on my word about walking away and not looking back. You always said to assume that my ex wants to meet up whenever she contacts me, but it's clear under the circumstances that she didn't contact me to get together. Well, you don't know that. You're just assuming that. He says, in the past 6 months, she said that she wanted to visit me, but instead she's taking vacation with her friends, and her actions are not aligned with her words. I don't want to weaken my position with my ex contacting her about anything. Well, like I said, that's how I would handle that situation when she reaches out. Again, you reiterate, I'd love to see you, but only under a romantic sense. And then if she doesn't do that, then say, I'm asking you to respect my wishes and don't contact me unless you actually want to see me under romantic terms, because I want to move on with my life, and it's nice, it's sweet of you to think of my mother, but like I said, it just brings up bad memories for me, and it gets in the way of me being able to move on with my life and meet somebody else. So you got to be clear about that every time you interact with. Don't ignore her, but when she reaches out, again, reiterate to her that, again, I'm only interested in something romantic. And she tries to give you that same BS, well, I was just calling you as a friend. Just say, look, I appreciate that, but I was very clear several months ago, last time we talked, that there's no reason for you and I to speak anymore if you just want something platonic. Because it's obvious you've always caved in the past, so why should she think that your magic all of a sudden going to stand up to her this time around? You got to be consistent 100% of the time. So let's get into the fourth and final email. And this guy says, "Yo, coach, I accidentally made the mistake of including my ex in a mass text I sent out for a party I am throwing this weekend. Did I fuck up? I never deleted her from my phone, and she was part of my party contacts." And so this particular guy actually sent 2 emails in over the weekend. So that's what he's saying in part of his email, but this is from the email he sent a day or 2 before that. "Hey coach, I just want to know if it would be okay to include my ex in a mass text that I am sending out about a party I am throwing. Please answer if possible as soon as So in 2 different emails, he's saying, hey, I want to know if, in other words, you're basically saying, hey, is it okay if I contact her and just act like I accidentally included her in this mass text? And then you're telling me, oh, I accidentally sent this text. It's like, come on, man, seriously. Why are you lying to the coach, man? It's like, come on, dude. That's just not cool. You're bullshitting yourself here. So what's really going on is you're having this party and you're thinking, hey, if I include my ex-girlfriend in this, maybe she'll show up. What this tells me, you're bullshitting yourself into pursuing your ex-girlfriend, and you're lying to me. It's like, come on, man. Seriously, dude. And so here's the rest of his second email he sent me. So last time I saw her, she admitted that she still has feelings for me, even though she has a boyfriend. But I have not heard from her since, and that was about 2 weeks ago, and it pisses me off that she acts like she doesn't care about me. Dude, she has a boyfriend. Let it go. Unfortunately, I still love this damn girl, even though I know she can only be a sex playmate due to all of her selfish and shitty ways, but I cannot get her out of my damn head and have the urge to text her, even though I know it would be a bad move. So what's really going on is, in a moment of weakness, she thought, okay, I'll just include her in this mass text. Maybe I'll get her to contact me that way. Dude, she's got a boyfriend. So what this tells me is that over the weekend, you held out for a whole 2 weeks, and you're acting like a big fucking mangina. Come on, man. Seriously. Do you think that she will eventually reach out to me and is texting my strength, or that she doesn't care about me, only hits me up when she comes in town because I have been too easily available? How should I play this? Well, from all the other emails I've answered, you're basically ignoring everything I've told you to do in the past. So what happened? You held out for a whole 2 weeks. You didn't hear from her, and keep in mind she has a boyfriend. Dude, move on with your life. Start dating other women. You've already told this girl everything that you need to say to her. Now all you're doing is looking for another reason to pursue her. So now you've already sent the email and invited her to your party. It's like, she'll probably show up with a new boyfriend. So for your sake, I hope that you at least have some other girls there that you're dating or that you're interested in, because, I mean, this is just a bad way to go, man. It's like, come on, dude, seriously. You gotta move. I know it's tough. I know it's hard. I know you care about this girl. I've been in those situations, but it's not helping you by making yourself look like a weak-ass bitch to continue to pursue. I've already told you what to do, numerous emails, and here you are basically asking if it's okay to continue pursuing her. Well, it didn't work in the past. She's already ditched you for another guy. I mean, think how weak and pathetic that makes you look. You tell her, hey, I'm not interested in being friends, but give me a call if you change your mind. And what happens? Then you send her an email. Hey, I'm having a party. Come on and hang out. Come on, dude. It makes you just look weak, and you're just digging yourself a hole even further. The only thing you do is grow a set of balls, start dating other women, and move on with your life, because you're not getting anywhere. And if she shows up, think about it. She shows up with her new boyfriend. How do you think that's going to make you feel? That's going to fucking suck, dude. That's going to be a total downer. and you did it to yourself. Bad way to go, my friend. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone, Skype, or email coaching session. You can choose any of those options by going to my website, clicking the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.